All right, so you have the test in front of you. I just gave it back to you. So let's go through it. I'm going to go through every single problem. And I got, 35 minutes to do this. All right, so let's try to get it done. It says identify each as what? Corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, consecutive interior. Most of you guys did fairly well on this. We still got a lot of wrong answers on this. So 3 and 6. I like to mark them, 3 and 6. These are inside the two lines. They're completely opposite. One's up here at the top left. This one's down the bottom right. So they're what? They're alternate, and they're inside, so they're alternate interior angles, okay? I'm not going to write it down. I wrote it down. Even if you got it wrong, I think I wrote it down for you. So alternate interior angles. 4 and 8. Where's 4 and 8? I'll tell you what, let's get rid of that. So 4 and 8. Look at these two right here. If you look at this group, 4 is in the bottom right. Look at this group of 4. That's on the bottom right. So what is it when they're in the same spot? What are they? They're corresponding. So these are corresponding. Okay? 3 and 5. So here's 3 and here's 5 right there. Now why did I put 2 arcs here and only 1 here? Because this is an acute angle. This is an obtuse angle. So they're different, aren't they? All right? So if they're different, look what they are. They're inside, but they're on the same side of the transversal. We call these what? Consecutive interior angles. I didn't give you any alternate exterior angles, did I? But what would be an alternate exterior angle with angle 1? 1 and 8. They would be alternate exterior angles because they're outside those two lines. Okay, enough of that. Let's do this. Let's do some math now. All right. So really, you only had to do math. Well, you had to do it twice on this. But look at this. Angle 1 is 115. So they tell you angle 1. I'll put a little arc right there so I can visually see it. All right. So that's angle 1. That's 115. 115. I'll even put the number in there. Angle 8. Look at angle 8. Is down here. So we got to figure out what that is. Well, these are parallel lines now, aren't they? So when they're parallel lines, what's true about the alternate exterior angles? They're equal to each other. They're the same. All the obtuse angles are the same. All the acute angles are the same. So look at 1 and 8. They're both what? Obtuse. So if they're both obtuse, they're both what? 115 degrees. They're both equal to each other. And that's how you do that. All right, you don't even have to know the names of them like we did for those first ones, but it's nice to know. What about this? Angle 4 and angle 6. Look at 4 and look at 6. Are they the same? No, so they're not equal to each other, so don't put 130. I don't think anybody actually did put 130. I don't know, did anybody do that? Put 130 there? So, but what are they? They are, what's the word? Perpendicular? What? I know you're just talking. You're just saying words. What is it? Supplementary. They're supplementary, which means they do what? Add up to 180. So look, if this is 130, then look at the acute angle. Remember, the obtuse and the acutes are always supplementary to each other. They're not equal, right? That's obtuse, that's acute. There's no way they're equal to each other. But when you have this situation, they're supplementary. So what do? What's the math? 180 minus 130. Now look, you could do that in your head. I didn't require you to show your work. Okay, I didn't mark it wrong. There are a couple on here where I did mark it wrong because you didn't show your work. And I knew from looking at your paper that you had no idea what you were doing. You just remembered the answer from when we reviewed it. All right, I know what's going on. All right, I'm not that old. All right, I know what's happening. So I would mark it wrong. But on this, 180 minus 130, you can just do that in your head. And that's 50 degrees. All right, what about this one? 5 and 4. Look at 5 and 4. What are they? That's obtuse. That's obtuse. This is not 130 now. What is it? This is 110, isn't it? All right, so angle 5 is 110. What's angle 4 going to be? It's the same exact thing because they're alternate interior angles. They're both obtuse. If they're both obtuse, then they're equal to each other. So if that's 110, that's got to be 110. What are some other ones that would be 110? Angle 2? Angle 2 is acute. Well, I already said angle 4 right there was 110. What else? Angle 1 would be 110. 7? Angle 8, because angle 8 is obtuse. All right? You got to see the difference between acute and obtuse. We've talked about this a million times. Look at that one. See how it's less than 90 degrees? It kind of like this. It kind of comes in, right? What's obtuse? Goes out like that. That's obtuse. This is acute. You see it? All right. So look at 7. What's 7? It's acute. What's 8? It's obtuse. So if the obtuse angle is 110, every single obtuse angle in this situation is 110. So that's 110, so is 4, so is 5, so is 8. With me? All right. This one, I don't think we actually did this problem on the review, but this is a problem that's just so basic that you should know how to do it. 7 and 8. Look at 7 is 60 degrees. The question is, what is angle 8? 180? Look, this is 180. Look. This right here is 180. That's not what we're asking for. We're asking for angle 8. Angle 8 is this one. But we do use the 180, but the answer is not 180. Okay? The answer is 120. How'd you get 120? You went... I know what you're saying. It's minus 60. No, he got it. I know what he was saying. So it's 180 minus 60, which is what? 120. So that is 120. Again, this is obtuse. This is acute. What's true about an obtuse angle compared to an acute angle? They're always supplementary, right? So you take 1 away from 180. So you take that away from 180. You get 120. All right, let's do this one. This one uses the same principles, okay? The same ideas, but you're going to have to do a little bit of algebra with this one because you got an x in there, all right? So what you have to do is look to see what is the relationship between these two angles. If you go back and look at the review that I did for this test, you'll see the exact numbers. I'm pretty sure. Am I right on that, Mario? Do you remember? I think on the review, I think they're the exact same numbers. Yeah. Okay. And I went through it, and I went through, because this was on the quiz, wasn't it? All right, let's do it. What do I know about this angle and this angle? They're equal to each other because they're alternate interior angles. So they are equal. So what do I do over here? I set them what? Equal to each other. All right? They're the same. They're equal. So I set them equal to each other. 2x minus 6 is the same thing as 54, right? And now I do some algebra. Some of you guys are still not getting this algebra, even though I've done this dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds of times, okay? Let's watch. Let's do it. At the very least, just memorize the steps. Don't memorize the answer, because if you don't show the steps, I'm going to mark it wrong. Everybody got that? Okay, and I held my word, didn't I, for some of you? Some of you, I marked it wrong because you didn't show your work. So here we go. Plus 6, plus 6. That cancels. Bring down the 2x. 54 and 6 is 60. Divide both sides by 2. And then x is 30. Is that your answer? Yeah, because it just says find the value of x. So that's your answer right there. X equals 30. That's what you're supposed to do. If you don't do all that right there, I'm going to mark it wrong. If all you do is just write 30 and that's it, and you don't show any of this stuff, I'm marking it wrong. Okay, well, that's what I did too. Okay, I marked it wrong. And you just put 30 and you didn't show any work? Okay, well, there you go. So what about these two right here? Look at this angle and look at this angle right here. Are they equal to each other? Do I set them equal? No. But what's the relationship between them? They're supplementary. They add up to what? 180. So let's do that. Let's add them up. So that one angle is 5x plus, what is that, an 8? I marked over top of it. Plus, what else? Thank you. Plus, what? 62, right? This angle plus this angle, right there, there's this angle, there's that angle, equals what? 180. And now you got to do some math. First thing I would do is this right there. I would add those two together. So just keep that 5x. What's 62 plus 8? 70. and then that's 180. Then we do the same steps that we did over here, okay? Get rid of that number first. We get rid of it by subtracting because it was being added. That cancels. Bring down the 5x. What's 180 minus 70? 110. Divide both sides by 5. What's that? It's 22. And that's all you had to do. You just had to solve for x. That's what it says to do. Solve for x. And there you go. Did you write it down if you didn't get it right? Okay, if you didn't get it right, you should have written it down. If you didn't, you're not doing enough. All right. If you didn't get all that, go back and watch the video. And slow it down, stop it. You're going to pause, think about it, write it down, write the steps down. What I would do is this. This is the best way to review for the midterm. You got the test in front of you, right? I would maybe just retake it again or just take some problems that you weren't sure about and just do it again, right? And then watch the video and watch the steps. Did you do the same steps that I did? If you did and you got the right answer, cool, go on to the next one. If you didn't, try it again, all right? Look in the book and find another problem that looks like it and try that. Nobody's going to do that, but but you should. But you should. You should. All right, we're halfway done, almost. Find the distance, okay? Some of you guys are not memorizing the distance formula. Some of you guys memorize the formula, but you're not putting them in right. I would say that was the biggest problem, okay? That you use the distance formula, but you didn't put it in right. So I'm not going to write down the actual formula. I'm just going to put it in. So find the distance. Here's the distance formula. Here's the shell of it. Do you guys do this or not? When you do this problem? That's what I do. I do this. Now, you got to know what to do inside of here. Now, watch very carefully. There's a lot of talking. Sean, is it you? Every time I say something, I hear something coming out of your mouth. So just listen. I just asked the question, is it you? If it's not, don't worry about it then. So look, subtract the x's. Which ones are the x's? Some of you guys went 6 minus 4. Are they my x's? No. Look, this is the x, and this is the x. Those are the two things that we're subtracting. A lot of you put 6 minus 4. We've never done that. We just take the x's in both points and we subtract them. So I go 6 minus 2. And then I subtract the y's. That 4 is a y, that 1 is a y. So I subtract those. 4 minus 1. That was a big issue when I was grading this, that you didn't have these numbers in here. If you put these numbers in here, you probably got this problem right. Okay? You got it. These are the x's right there, and these are the y's right there. So keep the square root. 6 minus 2 is 4, and we're going to square it. Plus 4 minus 1 is 3, and we're going to square that. Most of you, if you got to this point, you probably got it right. 4 squared is 16, plus 3 squares, 3 times 3, which is 9. Square root of 16 plus 9. What's 16 plus 9? It's 25. Now look, if you would have left it like that, I'd probably give it to you. Some people, well, what is the answer for this, by the way? What is the square root of 25? It's the number 5. I can't tell you how many people between this class and the other class wrote square root of 5. Is the square root of 5 the same thing as 5? No, it's completely different. The square root of 5 is like 2 point something. I don't know what it is, 2.1 or 2.2 or something like that, okay? This is your answer, okay? Don't put the square root of 5. Somebody's over here talking the whole time. I know that. So it's not the square root of 5. It's just 5. What does square root mean? It means what number times itself, what two of the same exact numbers multiply to be 25? 5. What about the square root of 5? What two exactly the same numbers multiply together to be 5? It's like 2 point something, right? Whatever it is. All right? The square root. It's not a check thing. It's a square root. We said square root like 5 times. It's a square root, right? And that's what I said. Some of you guys are putting square root of 5. That is not correct. That is wrong, okay? I just bang my head against this wall right here. Yes, I said it's wrong. I'll mark it wrong. Okay, if you put the square root of 5, I said that's wrong. The question was, will you mark it wrong? Yes, I'll mark it wrong if it's wrong. Okay. All right. I don't know what else I can tell you about that. Let's do this one. Midpoint. I got some people giving me like a square root for an answer for a midpoint. Okay? You got to know what the midpoint formula is. You got to memorize it. Some people didn't put over 2. That's the first thing I do when I write the midpoint formulas. Put it over 2. Some of you didn't divide it by 2. Again, I don't remember who did what. I'm grading them pretty quick. But I just remember seeing that a couple times. So, what do we do with the x's up here? Here's my 2 points. Here's my x, and here's the other x. The midpoint, what do I do with them? I don't subtract them this time. What do? I add them. So it's -2 plus -6. Then, here's my y's. I put my y's in a box. Those are my y's, and I add the y's together. So what is that going to be? 5 plus what? -3. That's how you should set it up. If you didn't set it up right, you're sunk, all right? So, put this over 2, put this over 2. Let's add these up. -2 plus -6 is -8. -8. 5 plus -3 is +2. -8 divided by 2 is -4. And 2 divided by 2 is 1. I think I even saw somebody write 2 over 2, and then they put a 2 right there. All right? I don't know what's going on in your minds, but 2 over 2 is 1. All right, did that one. Don't just rely on me showing you how to do these, okay? I'm going to say this a million times, whether or not you pay attention or not. You have to do these problems. You have to go and find some time and do it. For some of you, that'll be the first time that you ever actually did some work to review for a test. But that's okay. Start now. All right? Now's the time to start. One more. Slope. Well, one more of these. Slope. Slope is m equals. And then it's just a fraction. Then we do something to the top. We do something to the bottom. So this is a little different. What do we do to the top? We subtract what? The y's. That's right. So here's the y's right here. I'll keep the y's in a box. Those are my y's. And I subtract them. It doesn't matter what order you subtract them in, but you got to subtract the x's in the same order. So normally we go the second one minus the first one. So let's do that now. 7 minus 3. And we put those on top. Just like I warned you when I reviewed for this, I said, I bet you anything, somebody's going to put the x's on the top. But I've told you over and over again, you've got to remember, this is rise over what? Run. Rise is the y-axis, okay? The run is the x-axis. That's why we put the y's on the top, because it's rise over run. So I take the y values and I subtract them. Now what do I do to the bottom? I take the what? What are these? Those are the x's, and what do I do with those numbers? Subtract them in the same order. So if I went 7 minus 3, I got to go what? 3 minus 1. And then you just put them in there. It's not hard at all. You just got to know, do you add, do you subtract? Where do you put them? You got to know that stuff, but the math is very simple. 7 minus 3 is 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 over 2 is 2. And that's it. Don't leave it 4 over 2. It's a fraction. 4 divided by 2. Everybody should know that that's 2. All right. Sounds like I'm being a little harsh on you. I probably am, but with good reason, okay? With very good reason. So let's watch. Here we go. Find the x and y intercepts. Okay, how many times have we done x and y intercepts? A lot. Somebody tell me what the first step is to find the x-intercept. set y to 0. Write it down. Okay, I don't know what else I can do for you. I've shown you why you do it. I don't think anybody responds to that. Just know how to do it, okay? To find the x-intercept, see that? The x-intercept of this equation right here, I'm going to set y equal to 0. What does that mean? It means I take this equation and I make y into a what? Into a 0. So let's do it. So 3x minus 4 times y, what did I set y to? 0. All right, equals what? 12. Now let's do the math. What's 4 times 0? 0. So all I got is 3x equals 12. One step, divide by 3, x is what? 4. I don't know. I think maybe only 2 or 3 people out of everybody actually wrote it the way I told you to write it when I did the review. How did I tell you to write the x-intercept? Not just x equals 4. Now, I gave it to you. I gave you credit, okay? You need to write 4, 0. Only a handful of people did that. And I told you, I went back on my word. This is one time where you should be happy that I lied, okay? Because I said that I would mark it wrong. You're not talking that time to Sean? That's the first time? Okay. So, I told you when I did the review that I would mark this wrong if you didn't write it as an ordered pair. Well, you know how kind-hearted I am, right? I kind of am, I tell you what, for how I grade some of your stuff. If I graded like I used to grade years ago, it would be a lot different story. All right, anyway, I told you I'd mark it wrong if you didn't write it like this, but I still gave you credit. If you wrote x equals 4, I gave you credit. But this is the way you need to write the x-intercept. Are we finished, though, on 13? No, we have to find the y-intercept. We do the same thing. I'm going to write y-intercept right there. We do the same basic thing, except what are we going to set? We're going to set x equal to 0 this time, and we're going to go through the same process. So let's take this equation, and let's make that x into a 0. So let's rewrite that equation. 3 times what? 0 minus 4y equals 12. That's 0. But this isn't just a 4y. What is it? It's a negative 4y. You see that? The number, the sign in front of the number, okay, is the sign of the number. Okay, that's a negative 4y. So some of you forgot the negative. Equals 12. Divide by negative 4, because I got to get rid of the negative as well. That cancels. 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. But I don't write my answer just y equals negative 3. How should I write the answer? 0, negative 3. And that's your answer. This one and this one is your answer. Everybody got it? Sure. I hope so. Write down the steps, okay? If you didn't write it down, you should have written it down. Watch the video if you didn't write it down. All right. I don't know what else I can do to explain that to you, all right? Too many people got that one wrong. I was just so surprised. I thought we went over that thing so many times, and I think I even gave you the exact problem on the review, I think. I mean, I'm like giving you every problem. All right, let's continue. So I think we'll be able to finish right on time. So here we go, number 14. Write the slope-intercept form. What's slope-intercept form? Yep, y equals mx plus b. All right, Josiah, you got that? Didn't you say during the test you didn't know what y-intercept form was? This is y-intercept form, okay? Or it's not y-intercept, slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form, okay? That's what that is. You got it now? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing, which is actually in standard form, and we're going to change it to slope-intercept form. All right? Maddie, you getting all this, right? Okay. Okay. I'll shut up. I'm just going to keep working. So what do we get rid of first? I saw all kinds of crazy stuff. I saw divided by 3x. No, you don't divide by 3x. I saw people dividing by 3. No, you don't divide by 3. What's the first step? You minus, not a 3, minus 3x. I'm getting rid of that whole entire thing, not just the 3. So I subtract a 3x. Write it down. Too many people miss this. It was probably, I didn't really keep count, but in my head, my guess is that probably more people missed number 13 than any other problem. That's just what I thought. But anyway, that cancels. What do we have? Negative 4y equals. Now, watch this. This is a part that people forget, and I say it all the time. I don't want to write it 12 minus 3x. How do I want to write it? Negative 3x plus 12. All I did was just switch the order, right? That's all I did. Not a hard step. I just switched the order because I want the x first because of slope-intercept form. One more step and you're basically done. I got to get y by itself. How do I get rid of that minus 4? No, it's being multiplied. It's being multiplied. How do I get rid of something's being multiplied? I divide. We've done it like 2 or 3 times already today. Divided by something, or at least once. I don't know if 2 times or not. But anyway, we've done it once today. And what do we do over here? Divide by negative 4. That cancels, so I'll write it up here. Y equals, look at this. Negative divided by negative is positive. I didn't mark it wrong. Okay, some people left the answer negative over negative, and I didn't mark it wrong, but you should write it as positive if it's a negative over a negative. Then I put the x. Some people forgot the x. Now, if I saw it here and you didn't put it in the answer, I gave it to you. A couple people did that. Some people didn't have the x anywhere at all in this, so I marked it wrong. So y equals 3/4 x. What's this? 12 divided by negative 4. It's negative 3, and that's your answer. That's the answer, right there. Did you write it down? What's that?
I'm confused because where did you get 4?
From here. This is the problem, right?
But that's not what
No, it's not. I did the wrong problem. And you're telling me now? Let's try it again. I was wondering why I saw so many confused looks. I absolutely did the wrong problem. I did this one, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. I should have done this one. This one's actually a lot easier, isn't it? Okay. So, watch. 3x. But what if I gave you that and I asked you to put that in slope-intercept form? Because that's a legitimate problem that we just did. That's legit that I could give that to you on a test. Right? In fact, you had to do it right here. A couple different numbers, right? But pretty much the same thing. So you had to do it here to graph it. All right? We'll get to that in a second. Let's continue because I only got a few minutes left now. So I accidentally did this. I found the slope-intercept form of this one because I wasn't looking. So this is what we're trying to find the slope-intercept form of. So it's 3x plus y equals 1. This is even easier. Look, subtract a 3x from both sides. All right, cancels. Y equals, what do we do with these? Put them in a different order, right? So what's it going to be? Negative 3x plus 1. Does that look familiar now? Yep. Feel better? Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh, number 15 is like the one we just did. Okay, again, I'm running short on time, so I'm going to go kind of quick on this one. Because we've done one like that already, and we're going to do another one down here. So watch this. This is probably one I was thinking of that more people got this one wrong than any other one. Doesn't mean everybody got it wrong. What are we going to do? We're going to get y by itself, right? So get rid of the 11x. It's like the 3rd or 4th time I've done this kind of problem today. So subtract 11x, subtract 11x. Cancels. Negative 8y equals, what do I do with these? Switch the order. So I put negative 11x. What? It's not plus. What is it? It's a negative 48. So I got to put minus 48. The only reason I put pluses before is because it was a positive number. Okay? This one's negative, so I put a minus. One step left. divide by negative 8. Okay, cancels. Y equals negative over negative is positive 11 over 8. What's negative over negative again? Positive. What's 48 divided by 8? 6. That's your answer right there. Looks like it was hard, but really it's not bad at all. Did you write it down? I hope. But I'm looking at some of you guys and whoa, what did I do there? There we go. Let's get rid of that. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Can I do these graphs in 5 minutes? Yep, let's grab one up here. Come on. And let's put it down here like this. We'll put them all on the same graph. I'll just erase them each time. Okay, here we go. A lot of you guys got these right, but too many got it wrong. Watch one more time. This is the last time I'm going to show you how to do this. Look, y equals 3. Let's try a different color. All right, y equals 3. If you graph y equals 3, that means it goes through the y-axis at what? 3. This is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. So it goes through the y-axis at 3. 1, 2, 3. But do I just put a dot there, a point? Some people are doing that. Some people are just putting a point there and that's it. No graph. Okay? No. It's a line. It's a line. All right? And we went over it. We went over it when I first taught it. I went over it when I reviewed it. And this is what it looks like. That's what it looks like. If you would have watched during the review live in class and wrote it down, you would have known. If you would watch the video, if you didn't pay attention in class, you would have looked at it and you would have known. All right? That's all I can say about that. We good with that one? All right? What if it says just x equals a number? There's no y on it at all. What does that mean? That means we go on the x-axis to where? Negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a point here. Now what kind of line is it? It's a vertical line. All right? It goes through the x-axis like that. And so that's what it should look like. You should put arrows. A lot of you guys aren't doing that, but you should. So though that's number 17. Number 18. Number 18 and 20, both super easy. Let's do it in a different color. Let's go blue. Look at 18. Y equals 3x minus 1. First thing I do is I put a negative 1 for the y-intercept. All right? That right there is the y-intercept. That's the b, right, in y equals mx plus b. Then I do the slope. The slope is 3 over what? 1. So I start at the y-intercept, and this is rise over run. So how much do I rise? No, I rise over run. Rise 3. That means I go what? Up 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Don't put a point just yet. Now I got to run 1. So which direction do I go? To the right 1, right there. And then I just connect them. And then I'm good to go. That's that one. Let's do number 20, then we'll do 19. Okay, let's do 20. Same kind of thing, except the y-intercept is what? It's 2. So I go up 2 and put a point. That's my y-intercept, plus 2. What's the slope? 2 over 3. So what do I rise? I start at that y-intercept. What do I rise? 2. So I go up 2, 1, 2, and then I run positive 3. It means I go to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Right there. There's my 2 points. I don't just leave them points. I got to connect them. All right? These are lines. So I make a line out of it, and there it is right there. Okay? So that's the yellow one. With me? All right. Let's do another one. Let's go orangish. Probably look like the red one. That's okay. What about this one? How am I going to graph this? I can't graph it the way it's written right now. What do I have to do to it? Something I've already done 2 or 3 times previous on this test. Put it in slope-intercept form. Exactly right. So subtract 6x from both sides. So what do I get? 3y equals, can you do this in your head now? You should be able to. Watch, at least this first step. Move this over here. So what's it become? Negative 6x plus 12. All right, divide both sides by 3. Done this step a bunch of times already. Negative 6 over 3 is negative 2x. 12 over 3 is 4. This is what we're graphing right here. Okay, this is what we're graphing. So let's graph it. I'll keep the same color, who cares? Plus 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a point right there. It's negative 2, or negative 2 over 1. What does that mean we do? We go what? Down 2 and to the right 1. Right there. Down 2 to the right 1. And then we connect. Now, obviously, you're doing this on separate graphs. Wow, good timing. You do it on separate graphs, not all in the same graph. And that is it, okay? Again, go back to watch chapter 1 review. Go back to YouTube. I'll put it on there. In fact, next period, it's exactly what I'm doing. I'm putting all the stuff on YouTube next period. All right, so it will be on YouTube. Please study. Please, please, please.